Welcome to the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. This is your time of the day to learn a little bit about the law while you enjoy your lunch. Yesterday, we talked about how a prominent trial lawyer, Robert Barnes, has threatened to sue, among others, the New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman for libeling Nick Sandmann and the Covington Catholic High School boys. We discussed the law of libel, the elements the boys would need to satisfy, and the injuries they would need to prove in order to win their libel claim. Since then, Attorney Barnes has issued a declaration to the media, to Hollywood, and to anyone with a substantial social media platform who issued defamatory tweets or statements about the Covington Catholic High School boys. They've got 48 hours to retract and delete those tweets and social media statements. Otherwise, they will be sued for defamation, libel, and invasion of privacy next week. Now, some have deleted their defamatory tweets. For example, soon after Attorney Barnes threatened to sue Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota, she deleted her tweet in which she claimed the Covington Catholic schoolboys threatened women with rape, taunted the 5 black Hebrew Israelites, and surrounded Nathan Phillips, the Native American elder, and led racist chants, all of which was false and defamatory. That was a very positive first step, Attorney Barnes said, adding he wants to see celebrities such as Kathy Griffin and Alyssa Milano retract their claims. Kathy Griffin, the comedian who once tweeted out a picture of herself holding the decapitated and bloody head of Donald Trump, she called for people to name those kids and to shame them in a tweet on Sunday. Alyssa Milano has sent out the following tweets. The red MAGA hat is the new white hood. So if you wear a red MAGA hat, you are a member of the Ku Klux Klan, according to Alyssa Milano. Without white boys being able to empathize with other people, humanity will continue to destroy itself. And I'm sure Alyssa Milano empathizes with the members of the Omaha Nation. She also tweeted out, let's not forget, this entire event happened because a group of boys went on a school-sanctioned trip to protest against a woman's right to her own body and reproductive health care. It's not debatable that bigotry was at play from the start. Interesting. So if you are pro-life, you are a bigot. Apparently, this is her most recent tweet. Apparently, I'm in hot water and facing backlash. So I'm going to do what any thoughtful human with a platform would do, write an op-ed. Stay tuned. Attorney Barnes points out that Maggie Haberman of the New York Times, whose tweet we covered in yesterday's lunch break, has still not taken down her tweet. And interestingly, the New York Times has not covered this story at all. I guess it's not news when the New York Times gets accused of libel in the biggest news story of 2019. In yesterday's lunch break, we covered Pennsylvania law on defamation. These kids, however, reside in Kentucky. Attorney Barnes points out that Kentucky law protects every citizen with the right to be free from unwarranted publicity and the right to live without unwarranted interference by the public. And this prohibits unreasonable publicity and is more protective of privacy rights than federal law. Furthermore, he points out that Kentucky law protects private individuals with increased protections from defamations because they lack easy access to the media afforded public figures and do not voluntarily expose themselves to public invasion of their privacy. Neutral coverage is not a defense. Attorney Barnes says that because his clients are private citizens and minors, he only has to show those making the false statements were negligent. He doesn't have to prove they willfully disregarded the truth, a higher legal standard used for defamation cases involving public officials. Some have countered that these tweets contain opinion, and generally speaking, opinions cannot constitute libel. And we covered this in a much earlier lunch break video, and I explained how it's best not to comment directly about people on social media, but if you feel you have to, comment only about public figures and include the words, in my opinion, so as to protect yourself from a libel claim. For example, you can tweet, in my opinion, Hillary Clinton is a nasty woman, and you'll probably be okay. Eugene Volokh, the law professor at UCLA, said, a lot will depend upon the specific tweets. He said individuals calling for students to get expelled or saying that kids are racist may be unsound opinions but aren't statements of fact. Those things may simply not be libel at all because they are simply expressions of opinions. You would need to have a false statement of fact and not an unjustified opinion. Well, I would probably disagree somewhat with the UCLA law professor. I would agree that saying a child should be expelled is probably an opinion and thus not actionable as libel. But saying a child or any person is a racist very well could be a statement of fact. You're saying they are a racist. Or it could be the type of opinion whose truth or falsity can be ascertained at trial by a jury. A jury could decide the issue. Is young Nick Sandman, is he a racist? And courts have ruled an opinion can be defamation if its truth or falsity can be determined by a jury. Attorney Barnes said statements claiming his clients approached Nathan Phillips, the Native American elder, and yelled racial slurs are both statements of fact that can be shown, and in fact were shown, to be demonstrably false by the subsequent videos that emerged. That is something a jury can determine. So if you tweeted out something to the effect of those Catholic school boys, they yelled racial slurs, and they approached and surrounded Nathan Phillips, you could be on Attorney Barnes's list, if you have a substantial social media platform, as one of the individuals to be sued early next week if he or she does not delete or retract that defamatory tweet. The clock is running, and we will soon find out which Hollywood celebrities and media of public figures are the subject of libel lawsuits on behalf of some of the Covington Catholic high school boys. And we'll keep you, of course, apprised of any developments in that lawsuit or the story. That's all the time we have today for the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. I hope you learned a little bit about the law. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your lunch.